And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, across our beloved Kyber Empire. You're watching Hot Old Hellnet News, the only news you'll ever need. Because you have no other choice. And today, we're doing AHN on the go, as you can tell. I was hoping to record in the mountains, but y'all ain't got no signal out here in Colorado. In case you've missed it the past couple days, and for the next couple days, I'll be in Colorado doing some overlanding. If you want, I'll show you some of the fun stuff towards the end of the video, what I've been up to. Needless to say, though, very difficult to get a hold of some signal. Just like it's been very difficult to get a hold of this question right here. I came down from the mountains to talk about this because I want to make sure you guys are stopping your Krayt Dragon Raid investment here. CG, came out of the woodworks, talked about this very ambiguous question. How is this new Endor raid that we're going to have interact with the Krayt Dragon? Because we know we went from Legacy to Krayt, but how do we go from Krayt to the next raid in this new generation of raid content? And I'm sad to say, even though there's some ambiguity, I was kind of getting you guys ready. It's seeming like we're moving completely the good rewards out of the Krayt Dragon and putting it in the Endor raid, meaning if you're chasing after Relic 8, you're going to need to participate inside of the inside of the Endor raid. So we're going to talk about teams and the implications of all this, but the point I'm getting at here is I'm kind of disappointed in my Omicron. This Omicron's been fantastic for the Krayt Dragon raid, but now if there's no point in having this Omicron because we're moving to a new raid, the resource management in this game, it's getting kind of questionable. The game did pretty well balancing and respecting investment into certain areas of the game, and usually you maintain that return on investment for a long time. Now it seems like they're going to constantly keep moving that beard, pulling out rewards, putting in a new one with this official confirmation. You might be wondering, where's this horrible news coming from? Well, there's my Kyla right there. Hi, Kyla. I'll show you some other pictures here in a moment. I just want to get you guys a little happy before we talk about the other stuff here. All this is coming from the RSG stream. They're a great group of people. They do a lot of, they're right now doing a charity stream, and they had Crumb from Capital Games come over, and they came out and talked about some Galaxy of Heroes related business a few days ago. I'm making sure we put this out there because right now it's not really making its runs, and it's got to be put out there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just play the clip where they basically confirm that the rewards are moving into the new raid, and they weren't like misdirecting us before. There was this ambiguity with their statement from earlier on, as we're going to go back and revisit. So let me go play the clip real quick so you guys can hear what Crumb is saying, and then we're going to also talk about some Leia stuff. They're saying that she's only going to be an offensive heavy Galactic Legend, not so much on defense. We'll have to wait and see. Let's talk about this part first.
How do we make that transition without just absolutely just feeling like the carpet's been pulled from underneath us?
Yeah, and that's definitely something we're actively discussing right now, and a part of that kind of post to help explain to players like what the actual deal is. But I will say, like, if you go back to that original reward post, the current system that we laid out for folks is that, rewards. I'll read this verbatim from what's online right now.
We're going to look at it too.
Also including the newest raid currency at the top is the Mark III it's talking about, that can be used to purchase from shipments. This special raid currency can only earn the featured raid, the latest raid released.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about that. So
which is what I figured, but when it was announced,
there's no like question about is this true or not. Like, that was what we said at the start here.
Yes. So as you can see, RSG, I think that's Ranger talking. I can't. I think that's Ranger on the phone that was talking to Crumb there. He was trying to get in. Like, yes, you said, but it was kind of ambiguous. And yes, they talked about. Let's go reference ourselves to the poster. So they did say this, but this is the first. We didn't really have any like sort of backlog precedents to kind of go back and see how this works. Now we're gonna have that precedence, and now we're gonna understand moving forward with the new raids. Which, by the way, it's awesome. We're getting new raid content. A huge fan of it, and I'm guessing this is their way of justifying making new raids by constantly moving rewards from old raids to new raids to keep you chasing after the latest and greatest. But they do say right here, rewards also include new raid currency. No, we don't got time to update. Goodness gracious, Windows. Rewards also include new raid currency that can be used to purchase items from shipments. So this special raid currency can only be earned from the featured raid, the latest raid release. So now with the presence, this makes a lot more sense. So when there's going to be a new raid after Endor, I don't know, let's just say it's going to be an episode 9 raid of some sort where you get the fight Sith Eternal, all that stuff. Then all the rewards are going to move from the Endor raid to the next raid. So now we have this precedent, but there was ambiguity, and they did say in the other parts of the stream that they're going to have a post coming out soon clarifying more how this is working. So it's kind of bringing back some old information, but now with a lot more clarification. And I wish we had more specificity and clarification. I think people would have altered their Krayt Raid investment. Now, we're going to talk about Jabba, and they also talk about Jabba in an interview, and also how it relates to Leia and how she's going to be interacting with the game. I think Jabba's still going to be a banger investment. There's a lot of exclusive events needed from Rise of the Empire. Still a great Grand Arena character, despite some endgame things going on in Kyber, and still a fantastic Galactic Legend. However, there's going to be some other teams I don't think are going to quite benefit the same exact way. So let's take a look at a few of them, and then we'll talk about Galactic Legends Leia. And, man, I just want to say, though, I am a little bit bummed on this because I feel like lately in Galaxy Heroes, as I said earlier, I feel like we're moving towards a direction where we're not respecting investment in Galaxy Heroes as much anymore. Look at Datacrons. Only limited time use. That's why I don't want to invest in them, because it takes all this time, money, effort, resources, whatever, free to play, pay to play, and they yank the rug on you a few months later and give you maybe like 5% of the resources back. And now it seems like they're creating this raid meta where we're going to constantly move the goalposts every few months. So you're always going to have to eyeball things, kind of predict in advance what are the teams you're going to want to invest in that are going to maintain value beyond the limited shelf life that they're putting on these raids. There was a part of us are hoping that maybe they're going to like rotate the raids, like so maybe certain days a week it's Endor, certain days it's Krayt. We talked about some examples like Raid Shadow Legends does something like that. Not going that well. So Hut Cartel, I still think it's going to be a faction you're going to want to invest in as much as possible. It's a great team for Grand Arena, Territory Wars, the Territory Battles. It's going to maintain its investment. But it's good that maybe some people didn't go crazy and over-invest in Jawas. They're not the best team, number one. Number two, they don't have much of a future now. Now that the Krayt Dragon Raid's going to be shelved and all the Relic 8 stuff's going to move over to the Endor Raid, not much need to invest in that. Now, Tuskens are another one. I don't think you want to overinvest them. They're a great team. Don't get me wrong. Inside of Territory Wars, Grand Arena, they're basically the ultimate call when Terminator's going to be present in the game. They're going to be there to counteract it. But I don't think you want to go relegate on this team. I already feel a little dirty going to Relic 7. And if in hindsight, if I actually had the full clarification how this worked, I probably would have kept them at like Relic 5 or something like that. I wouldn't go too far beyond, but still a good team to have. Nonetheless, Old Republic, kind of another one. I took the team up to Relic 7. I didn't want to go to Relic 8. This is probably one of those teams, again, you probably just want to keep at a lowish gear. You don't want to overinvest. Of course, Janet Revan's amazing and stuff like that, but I don't know if you want to take Mission all the way up and beyond, farther than she really needs to be to do the bare minimum. Again, the goal in the Krayt Dragon Raid, and I guess all raids moving forward, we're going to see how that math works out towards Endor. The goal is to get your guild, to get that bare minimum crate just so you can get the Relic 8 unlocked. So that's usually the 25 million crate. And we've talked pretty extensively how I do it on my free-to-play account, for example. So at the end of the day, I guess the raid's going to come down to figure out the min-max situation on what teams to take as far as you possibly can. So looking at the new raid coming down the road, we know the Jedi Luke Skywalker, Imperial Troopers, Iden. So we can kind of eyeball say, all right, these teams are good. I'm going to invest in them because they're good in other areas of the game. But in the raid, I'm not going to over-invest. If there's going to be Omicron-specific things, I probably will never invest in another Omicron-specific thing for raids. If this is what's going to happen, if they release, let's say, an Omicron for Veers, let's say, to make him better in the raids. As much as I love Imperial Troopers, I don't want to invest in something especially in Omicron, if it's going to expire in a couple months. So for guilds out there, they're going to give us more information, probably a post coming shortly here. Hopefully the math works out similarly to Endor, but you really want to try to strive for that 25 million because you get a decent amount of the Mark III currency, which is needed to get Relic 8. Kind of interesting, they're not creating new materials. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe they will introduce a Relic, 10 plus or something like that. They haven't done so. It seems like their philosophy is just let's keep moving the rewards. But of course, if you go down lower tiers, you'll still get some other Mark III currency that you can get to bolster your Relic 8 progression. But you really, 25 million is kind of that sweet spot where you're getting a decent amount of Relic 8 every single week. So I'm going to pass the ball over to you guys. Are you guys okay with this, the constant moving of the rewards when new raids come out? I was really hoping, I think it would have respected the investments that were put into Krayt Dragon and those future raids. Now it kind of seems to be a little backwards. CG wants to encourage us to invest in teams as much as possible. They want you to take it to the top. But now there's no incentive knowing how the raids work. Why do I want to take Tuskens to Relic 8? Why would I want to take Old Republic to Relic 8? So it seems to kind of counteract that. I guess the justification is, though, they can at least get people to engage in the newest raid by moving those rewards all around. Last thing I want to talk about, there's maybe a State of the Galaxy address coming sometime soon. They talked a little bit about Galactic Legends Leia. So let's go ahead, bring it on over. Very minor thing, but it's kind of something I do want to bring up because it's kind of important. So if you hop back on over to the stream, I'll leave a link down below, by the way, if I haven't mentioned already, if you guys want to watch the full entire thing over on Twitch. But if you go over to about 129.20, they talk about how, if you invested in Jabba early, you got your money's worth. Basically, indirectly saying, if you're too late to Jabba, you're screwed because now we're moving to Leia. And if you don't get Leia soon enough, you're screwed because now there's going to be a new Galactic Legend Raid. So they're really pushing the boundaries on getting people to feel like you have to get this stuff right away, or else if you don't get Leia right away, then there's going to be a new raid. So it kind of sucks for free-to-play players. I feel like you're always going to be behind when it comes to raid content. So it really does concern me a little bit. Anyways, let's go talk about this part right here.
You guys feel differently, but I feel like I've gotten the value out of my Jabba like tenfold, right? Like there's a billion different places I use him all the time, and I feel like the kit's cool, and I get a lot of value out of like resources earned from him. Leia should be in the very much.
Before we talk about the Leia part, I do want to say, Jabba is still going to have value beyond the Krayt Dragon Raid. He's still a great all-around Galactic Legend. Territory battles. He has the stupid Smuggler's Run thing for mods, so he does have a lot of value, especially if you did invest early on. But I feel like there's this gray area where it feels like if you didn't invest early on, now you're not going to get as much bang per buck, and that's kind of going against what Galactic Legends are all about. Galactic Legends should be, when you get to them, they're always going to have this high shelf value. Now it seems like these new generation of Galactic Legends might not be that way. Let's hear what he has to say about Leia and key details I want to put out.
Similar vein, right, of like a powerhouse in the raid.
So let's go back.
And I feel like the kit's cool, and I get a lot of value out of like resources earned from him. Leia should be in the very much the similar vein, right, of like a powerhouse in the raid, powerhouse in Grand Arena, while Jabba's like a very good defensive GL, right?
I want to pause there for a moment. I don't think he's wrong. I don't know if he's keeping up with where the end game is. You got to remember, like the other day, we ranked all the legendary characters. A lot of fun discussion to have. It depends where you are in the game because your perspective is going to be a bit different. Like Jabba is still a very almost indestructible Galactic Legend in the earlier parts of Grand Arena because people might not have Night Sisters. They don't have all those other fun tools that people have with Marin. But in early parts, Jabba's almost invincible. So he's not wrong that early on he's defensive. Viability is pretty strong. It's more end game. It's not as crazy. But here's what he has to say about Leia.
Like Leia is kind of the opposite of that, of like an awesome, super offensive, like will take out many, many squads kind of powerhouse. But okay, cool. Let's explain that.
All right. So Leia being an offensive powerhouse. I understand with the power creep, it's very difficult to manage this new area of Galactic Legends we've had for the past couple years because before it's like it just has to be better than the last thing. Now it feels like they're kind of taking like an Omicron approach where they're trying to just make Galactic Legends good in a very particular area. We'll have to wait and see. Sometimes they don't. I mean, you guys remember they had like 20 bugs on Leviathan. So, not to say they know everything about the game, but right now, if they're pitching it this way, an offensive-only Galactic Legend, I don't know if that's going to appeal to a lot of people. A lot of resource. We're going to hopefully maybe get some requirements later on this week for the next batch. Maybe Drogon will get announced and we'll see the character kit reveal and all that. I don't know how I feel about this. It's only going to be limited use in raids before a new one comes out, and it's only going to be good on offense, maybe not so much defense. Sith Eternal is a very decent offensive Galactic Legend, but not a lot of people are happy about that. That's why I'm bringing up that point. Let's keep listening.
A little more clearly, let's also talk about the requirements, more up front here so we can get like people understanding what that is. And then similarly I'm tying these two things together. I realize you're specifically talking about the raid, but these are all intertwined in my brain. But the raid itself, again, like making sure that like how are rewards moving? Like, what is the cadence? Just reminding people, like, what is the cadence for setting for this stuff? So, like, what is the real timeline that we can lay out for players, and then go to have you make the judgment call? Like, does this make sense for me to invest in these characters and whatnot? So it's because it's not clear right now, and we can see that in data.
And that's what I've been saying. So they admitted themselves. It's not entirely clear from this because we didn't have the precedence. We're now moving to a future where now we're going to have that precedence and we're going to make assumptions based off of. Before, when we read this, it was kind of a 50-50 assumption. It could either be, all right, we're going to have multiple raids because they're all featured raids, right? Or it's going to be, oh, no, it's going to completely make the previous raid obsolete. So now we're getting that clarification. Even they said themselves there's a bit of ambiguity with it. The data was showing that too. But as we're seeing it right now, when it comes to the new raid down the road, we're going to want to just min-max the good teams, skip out the bad teams. And I guess that's why we're here at AHN, to help you navigate through those issues of maximizing your roster. At the end of the day, the question is, because a lot of people, pretty much the consensus was, up until this announcement, Jabba. Everyone was pretty much on board. It's like the first time I felt like everyone was on the same page. That Jabba's the way to go. With this new raid coming around, it's hard to say. Leia, if you're a new player, it's going to be hard to get Leia. And then eventually, probably when you get Leia, there's going to be a new raid. So we have to wait and see. There's going to be more clarification about rewards. I still think there might be some value in the Krayt raid if you can't engage with the new raid. But I have a feeling the good news is I think about Endor. I think more people are going to be able to interact with Endor because people have Imperial Troopers, Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker, Iden Versio. A lot of teams people already have, whereas now people had Tuskens, Jawas, things of that matter. Anyways, to close up this video, I just want to show you some stuff I've been doing out here in Colorado. Having an absolute blast. Yeah, barring signal issues, like I only get about like 10 minutes of connection a day unless I go down into town and just sit awkwardly. But I'm grabbing some coffee for the lady and all around, so it all works out here. So yeah, absolutely beautiful out here in Colorado. We're doing a lot of overlanding right now. There's my Kylo on top of the Rockies. There's my Harley on top of the Rockies. And then we found some amazing places to just camp out, have a good time, look at the beautiful stars at night, the mountain views, and basically I got to go climb back up the mountain now. To get where I got to get going here. This is Gary, Gary. Get all ready, yeet! And we're working on the abbreviation, but this is Gary coming down the mountain, absolute monster of a power. It's more useful than the actual Gary. So that's why I decided we're going to call this guy Gary, just to show Gary what it looks like to be an actual capable being out there. Nonetheless, having an absolute blast. I'm assuming probably later on today we're going to get probably an announcement of new requirements. Probably going to get an announcement, maybe Dro going to get the kit reveal and all that stuff. We'll try to keep you guys up to date around here in Old HoloNet News. Might take a bit of time, but when you think about when it's 25/8, it's always 1 extra hour, 1 extra day of partying hard. So everyone, thank you guys so much for coming out today. Hope you're having a fantastic time wherever you may be. I'll catch you guys later. And one more time for the road, always remember how it's great to be in the Empire today.